Welcome to the Not So Perfect
Are we
Couple
recording?
of Podcasts. Wow, that looks cool, like a cyborg,
Are
sort
we
of.
recording?
Yeah, honey, we're
Oh,
recording.
sorry.
So, um,
This is our champagne podcast. We already had 2 beers, so
yeah, because we're going to talk about our own sex life, and that seems a little uncomfortable. So, we're going to have a few drinks while we do this.
it's not uncomfortable.
It's going to get uncomfortable.
I'll
It's going to get funny
I'll just leave
and
the
a little
room.
uncomfortable.
I'll just leave the room.
Or maybe it won't get uncomfortable at all. Maybe it will all be fine.
Yeah, maybe when we get to the part where we have to do the visual demonstration.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right. Cheers. Love you,
can
honey.
you hear that? Wait, for listeners at home that can't watch us. There we go.
I think these are real crystal. These are from my grandma Margaret. Aren't they cute?
They got spots on them, woman.
Well, I don't
You
really.
served me a drink in a spotted glass again. Raise up the. Almost said pan.
Honey, you don't even know any pimps.
We're supposed to be talking about good things about relationships. Actually, that's a really bad thing. It's not even good to joke about.
Yep, not good. And spotted glasses, that's just how I roll, baby.
We may have to edit that part out.
The pimp hand part?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not like the first time you've ever said that.
I just think it's funny. That's the only reason I say it. But if you get hypersensitive, I can understand why. And I shouldn't even call it. It's sensitive. For some people, I can understand why.
Yeah, since when are you sensitive to the other
I'm not.
sensitive people?
I'm trying to be sensitive to any listeners that might be sensitive to that statement. It was said.
That's real weird. Now you're not even acting like yourself.
Oh
you
my God.
you say that you're an equal
I like to make fun of everyone.
Humoritarian.
I mean, humoritarian,
Yeah,
right?
equal humoritarian, which means you make fun of everybody.
Yep.
And you don't have any fucks to give about the overly sensitive. In fact, like that's what we did with our kids. Like you tease the shit out of our kids just to train them to be tough and insensitive. That sounds
Right.
awful.
I still think Pimp Hand's funny. I was just trying to be sensitive.
Oh, I think that's cute. All right, should we get to the topic? Or well, not yet.
We were already talking about the topic.
The pimp hand was no part of the topic.
We're done talking about that.
Now we're going to talk about our own sex life for a minute. All right, so some of you may know or may not know that I've been working on this TED Talk.
Shh. Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody what?
Don't tell anybody about your TED Talk. She hasn't been accepted yet, so it's officially not a TED Talk.
It's like a wannabe TED Talk, but I have a couple callbacks. So I'm working on some videos for that. But I've been working on this TED Talk. Yeah, I mean, I think if they let me do it, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So I've been working on this TED Talk, and it's the title that I have now, which may or may not stick, is A Case to Put Out. Tell them what it's about, honey. Because you've heard it like, I don't know, a couple hundred times probably.
I have heard this an absolute metric crap ton of times.
Because I did a little practice one at a real theater up in Park City last year. Just to practice.
It's all in the exact format. It's in the right time frame. It's a great talk, actually.
Thanks, babe.
And you will be on a TED stage in 2019. I have no doubt about that. TEDx stage.
Yeah, TEDx.
That said, we don't know where because we applied to a bunch of them, and we'll see what happens. But it's basically about. So it's twofold. It's about our chapter 4 of our book, which is Just Say Yes and that experiment and what we learned about that, and then it's also about all the research that you've done since then, which is pretty cool because a lot of that research kind of has backed up some of the stuff from our book, and then there's some new shit in there that you learned along the way.
Yeah, which will be in the new version of the book.
Exactly.
Which I wasn't sure I wanted to write, but I'm pretty sure I still want to write it.
The TED Talk highlights our Just Say Yes experiment, and then some of the research that backs it up. And
talk about the Just Say Yes experiment.
No, if there's somebody listening to our podcast that's
we're gonna get into it anyway.
Fucking cheap to buy our book,
honey.
then I'm not telling them.
Maybe.
Nope, not doing it.
That seems like bad manners.
You
Actually,
can tell
people
'em.
that just subscribed to our podcast could get our book for free. So
That's true. They should have already
so
read
it's
it,
not
though.
even that they're cheap. Maybe
So-
they just don't want to listen to it, or
Maybe they're so cheap they got our book for free and then they still haven't listened to it.
well, if that happened to you, then you should listen to it because it's got some good stuff in
I'm
there.
about ready to
Uh-oh,
bring
get
down the wrath of
get your
Paddy.
pimp hand back out.
No, I'm a non-violent person.
That's true. You always threaten, but you're very nonviolent.
I don't threaten violence. I make jokes about it, but I don't really threaten it.
That's true. But you always do a really good job of protecting me if I feel unsafe.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a whole other, like, we could go down that rabbit hole, but that's a whole other conversation.
that's true. Anywho,
Okay, so
sidebar.
the other day, was it? I think it was more of the nighttime.
When did we start talking about your TED Talk first? If you're going to start talking about a specific example of something, nobody knows what we're talking about.
Because I'm going to relate. I'm going to tie it. I'm going to do this thing where you do like, you talk about this part and then you do like this big circle and then you're going to tie it back into the end.
Oh, so it's a philosophical approach. We're like here in the now, talking about the now.
No, I'm going to talk about the past.
So we're in the now talking about the past.
Yeah.
As it relates to the now.
But we're going to go back to the TED Talk. Got that?
Okay.
I like that you're wearing your headphones because you don't really need to have them on because we're by ourselves.
Oh, yeah, we're not listening to anybody, are we? Shut up. We did a Facebook Live earlier, and
we still didn't need our headphones.
No, we did. Oh, we didn't for that?
Nope, we didn't. And that's how we
Oh, well, Sam's mic
that's
wasn't
how we
on
messed up
for the
because
entire
the mic
Facebook
wasn't
Live.
on.
So if anybody saw it, I'm going to go and delete it tonight. But if you didn't see it, it was remarkable.
It was.
Unremarkable. It
was amazing. Anyway, so Paddy and I, so I'm the just say yes girl. You can probably put those to it. It was your idea. It was your experiment. But now I'm the one out there promoting it because I think it drastically changed our relationship and the way that I approach sex. And I think that a lot of people that aren't super sexual, if they just put themselves in the position where they say yes.
Is it on top or bottom? What position is it? Just say yes position?
All of them. All of them.
Dude, clothes? So, no clothes?
I mean, I prefer no
latex?
Clothes. Whatever.
Right.
It's whatever you're into, honestly. Whatever turns you on or gets you off.
You're losing your train of thought.
Yeah, where was I? It must be the champagne. It's going in my head.
You're in the just say yes position.
Okay, so I'm the just say yes.
2s or 4s.
Lady.
On.
And I promote this idea of just saying yes to your partner anytime they want to have sex. I am not super sexual. I like sex when we get going, but I just don't feel spontaneously horny. I'm just not a horny person. I'm not like suddenly feeling like I want to have sex.
So
right?
let's break down the science of that.
Why? So there's spontaneous desire, which is prevalent in the male population. And
it's
then
also
there's
spontaneous desire in the male population is also known as
yeah, you pop a boner and you want to have sex. You see something, spontaneous desire is like you see something sexy and then you want to fuck, Whereas more women, and again, spontaneous desire can happen to women. So again, this isn't like it's all men and all women. It's not. There's lots of variations between. So if you're a woman and you experience spontaneous desire, then that's amazing. I wish that I had that. I don't.
You have some friends that definitely have that.
Yes, I do. I absolutely do. But like, how do you know? Anyway.
They're real handsy.
Okay, so to my handsy friends, keep your hands off my man. All right. But a lot more women have something else. And I can't remember the word.
This is where we need to pause it and then edit this part out because
what is the word?
It's your
It's called
TED Talk.
Yeah, I know, but that was like in November. Now it's almost June. That's 6 months ago. It's called who cares what it's called? The idea is what? It's a scientific word that nobody gives a fuck about. It's called something else. Oh, it's called responsive desire. Oh, thank God.
Oh, well, that's super scientific.
Super scientific. Well,
Surprised
it
you
is.
could even pronounce that.
Fuck you. Responsive desire. So that's where somebody actually has to be doing something that physically turns you on. Sometimes it could be something that you're seeing. So for some people, it could be like watching porn or reading an erotic story,
Clicking the mouse.
or your partner is doing things that actually turn you on. So if you know what turns you on, then you're doing that thing, which is different from spontaneous desire where you just see somebody with big tits and you're like, oh, I'm popping a boner, right? Is that kind of the difference in your opinion? I mean, I've read a lot more about this than you, but yeah, boobs. I've never looked at a man and thought, oh, I want to fuck that guy. I've never felt like that. Although I watch porn and think, oh, I'm getting kind of horny. Or you touch me or kiss me or do things to me. And I think, oh,
you know what I mean?
I'm getting horny.
It's 52
especially when
years
you
old.
Use your mouth.
Toweling off with one foot up on the stool doesn't do it for you?
Nope. I don't even know what that means.
Any man that's gone to the gym that's seen grandpa toweling off knows what I mean.
Oh, toweling off.
Yeah.
Never mind. I won't tell you what I thought because you'll just say I'm stupid. All right. So I'm a responsive desire kind of girl. And we're having a conversation about our sex lives because in the last, how long, babe? Few months?
What do you mean?
Well,
I don't know what we're going to talk about. Full disclosure. Sam just said she wanted to do this.
I tried to debrief you a few days ago and like prepare you for this conversation.
Yeah,
but
still may leave. Just warning.
What?
I might walk out.
All right. So it's been a few months where
we have to do yoga.
We're not doing yoga. It's been a few months where the sex has been weird. Like we haven't had it as much as we normally have, and I think it's because at night. So we had this whole conversation.
Oh, you want to talk about?
Yeah.
The ask.
Yeah, the ask. So it's about how we propose to have sex. So I've been doing this research with other couples, and I have this whole thing that I called the Playground Pact. And I can get into all the details of that, but I'm not going to do that right now. But this research with other couples is for them to try just say yes for a month and see what happens. And we've had some great results with that. We've also had some other interesting results, but I'm not going to get into all that. But in the Playground Pact, one of the things that has to happen when you are approaching sex, and the Playground Pact is all about what happens in the bedroom or wherever you want to have sex, is the altruistic ask. So when you want to have sex, yes, it is altruistic ask and receive. Thank you. See, you even know. So if Paddy wants to have sex with me, he can't be like, hey, baby, I want to fuck. He has to be like, I want to pleasure you. He can't be in it just to get off for himself. He has to be into it to pleasure me first. And I also have to be in it to say yes, to also receive that pleasure. So it's this idea of altruism in your sex life. And that's worked pretty well for us.
And it's also not something that we're saying has to happen every single time, but we're saying it ought to be like the main theme. In other words, if you're having sex 3 or 4 times a week, then 3 of the times ought to be an altruistic ask. Every now and then you're like, honey, you want to help a brother out? And you'd be like,
yeah, again, you have to use discretion, but you can't be I mean, when you are trying to,
there's take one for the team, where
it's
like, all right, you know what, let's do this.
Let's do a quickie. I don't have time for you to, take all the time to get me off it, but I'm happy to have sex with you.
But on the Just Say Yes experiment or the Just Say Yes
month
lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, you can't ask for take one for the team type sex 3 out of 4 times because then it just becomes selfish and isn't good for anybody. That's why we talk about the altruistic. Oh boy, glass of champagne and 2 beers, and I can't say altruistic.
You said it. Ta-da!
When you talk about altruism, it's it ought to be like the main approach.
And when you're saying yes to someone, you're not doing it in a resentful way, like, oh, fine. This is I'm giving this gift to my partner.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not like
giving this
fine, hurry
gift.
up.
Yeah, fine, hurry up is not the answer. It's more like I'm giving this gift to my partner, and I'm giving this gift to myself to receive the pleasure, and I'm giving this gift to our relationship because our relationship needs that physical connection. I worry about couples that don't have that kind of physical connection. And it doesn't have to be heterosexual intercourse. It can be whatever you guys define as sex that turns you on, gets you off. But there's something very special and almost transcendental about a physical connection between a man and a woman. Or at least between us. And I've read and heard many, many stories about other couples that experience that same kind of transcendentalism in their sex lives, which is really beautiful and amazing.
I think that'd be a really good band name.
Transcendental orgasm.
Well, that's a good one too, but turns you on and gets you off is a good one.
Oh.
Or maybe it could be the names of the band members.
All right. So getting back to our story. Again, we're coming back around. We're probably like over here. The TEDx talk is still way down here.
Down by my wiener.
Down by your wiener. Hey, my glass is empty.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so it's been kind of weird because Paddy and I had a conversation. It's been a few months. I feel like January, but maybe it wasn't that long ago. Where Paddy said to me, so
it was March.
Okay, well, since whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's been a few months. But since we did the Just Say Yes experiment, I initiate a lot. And it's not that I'm initiating because I'm horny. I'm initiating because I know what it does for our relationship. I know what it does for Paddy. And so I initiate, but I initiate in my way and what makes me feel happy and comfortable in initiating. Because I'm not like, I want to have sex. I need to have sex. I'm like, our relationship needs sex and Paddy needs sex. So I'm going to just initiate.
Yeah, and honestly, we should have probably opened this.
We can put it in the intro.
Okay, we could put it in the intro.
But go ahead. Say it anyway.
Well, the podcast theme really comes down to, we had this idea for Just Say Yes, and we do 30-day challenges, Just Say Yes and everything else. And we've gotten a lot of feedback on it. It's all mostly positive. And honestly,
if they follow the rules, it's been amazing.
Yeah. And anyway, so what we're here to talk about is the fact that we've been on this path now for 4 or 5 years, right? At least maybe 4 years since we started.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 years.
And it was in this house, so it's 4 years.
Okay, 4 years.
Yeah. Anywho, 4 years
right,
in.
It was in this house. Whoa.
4 years in.
That's cool.
There's a couple small chinks in the armor, and that's what we're basically discussing. We're like, we've evolved into this. Sam asks, I've become super subtle about asking, in other words, and I use this, maybe overusing this word on this podcast, but hypersensitive about her being, in the right mood and not pushing it if I don't think that she is. And at the end of the day, it's such a subtle approach that she doesn't even know that I'm doing it half the time.
Right. So the first conversation was, Paddy came to me and he's like, honey, because let's talk about my ask. So let's
talk about your ask.
Let's talk about my ask.
Oh,
ask.
Oopsie.
Maybe I should say it axe, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's talk about my axe. When I ask, because we both work from home and we live alone together, and I really like my whole idea of prepare the area, which our friends know about prepare the area, but a lot of other people don't because we didn't even put that in the book.
It's like everything to be sparkly clean.
I like us both to be clean.
There's a lot of inhibitions.
So there's, no inhibitions. So I'll ask Paddy whenever I'm done working out and doing all my morning routines and maybe getting some work done, if he wants to take a shower with me. And I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years.
4 years.
4 years. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
4 years. We got that straight. So 4 years I've been like, "Hey, baby, do you want to take a shower?" And sometimes he says yes, and sometimes he says no. I don't take it personally. Like, whatever he wants to do. He knows that that's me asking if he wants to go have a shower with me, and it will likely turn into sex, right?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah. So Patty comes to me and he says, "Well, you realize that your ask is almost always at a very inconvenient time." Like, I'm into well, tell him. I don't
Well,
have to
so
tell him what you
I
said.
mean, I work from home, but I get up and I'll have some coffee, and first thing in the morning is fine, but Sam has her like morning routine, like her own version of Miracle Morning, if you will, and
Yeah, shout out to Hella Rod. Woo woo.
it's um it's like a 2 to 3 hour process. I
Oh,
mean,
come on, it's not.
well,
Well,
it's
actually,
changed recently, but
it's changed recently, but
your old one was, I mean, for a couple of years, it was over a 2 hour process.
well, yeah, because the workout's an hour, and then I meditate, and then yeah, you're right. 2 hours is probably about
And
right.
your meditations kept getting longer and longer.
Yeah, because I really like meditating.
Anywho, we so 10 o'clock rolls around, and I'm answering emails. I'm talking to people on the East Coast. I'm talking to people on the West Coast, and I've got some stuff going on, and I'm in kind of my work zone mode. And you're like, "Want to take a shower?" And it's like I got to drop everything, and I know that's gonna be a 45-minute plus shower. And sometimes I have a conference call in 20 minutes, or I
Yeah,
just have stuff going on, and so I'm
I
like,
know.
no, not. I mean, I can't, or I
Not
just.
today, or maybe tomorrow, or how about in a couple hours? And then I'm like, well, I can't do it in a couple hours because I have this, that, and the other
Oh
planned
my
in the
god! I just had a
afternoon.
realization.
I love that. What did you realize?
Well, and our conversation did eventually evolve around to this, where we actually had an in-depth conversation about what we liked, and how to ask better. And but if I'm a spontaneous desire guy,
Yeah. Why don't you just ask then?
well, do you want to take a shower? There's no, I gotta like create like a visual, and you know what I mean. So at the
Yeah,
end of
so
the
now
day,
I'm trying to create responsive desire
at
in
the end of the
you.
day,
Oh,
we've become we've got like in our comfort zone, and the being is not so perfect as we are. We're failing at our own fucking experiment.
right. Because now I'm asking and Patty always has to say yes, but now he's not saying yes because it's inconvenient. And then he's trying to initiate, but he's doing it so subtly that it's,
Mine's usually when we get in bed at night,
yeah,
and
it's
then
at night
she's
and
laying there
it's,
with no shirt on, and then spontaneous desires kicking in for me. I'm like, oh, boobies.
yeah, and I'm like,
But
I'm sleeping through the TV show we're trying to watch, right?
yeah,
So
so we're back to almost not really square one, because I don't think either one of
we're
us,
not at square one.
no, neither one of us feels like we're not getting what we need, but we weren't communicating as well, and we'd fallen into a little bit of a rut and then there was a little bit of finger pointing and everything else, and
It was a big fucking fight.
it
Let's
came
just
down
be
to
honest.
communication. Well,
It was a big fucking fight in the middle of the night.
yeah.
And you got up and left the bed and you slept in the basement.
How many other guys do that, by the way? Raise your hands.
I don't. I'm like, you can go.
The funny
Actually, I have. No, I
well,
don't think I have.
you've done it once that I
Yeah,
remember,
maybe
once or twice.
Once, but you always
But
leave
the
the bed.
funniest thing is you have an argument when you're laying in bed, and you're like, I'll show her. I'm going to go down and sleep on the couch. And then she's laying up there going, sweet, the bed to myself.
And it's quiet because you're not snoring.
I'm down there going, she's going to be super pissed when I don't even come back up to bed.
Actually, the truth is I am sad. I was sad that night.
Yeah.
I was really sad.
Well, it's because you were wrong.
No, I wasn't.
That's why you felt sad.
That's not why I felt sad. I felt sad because I was the just say yes girl. I'm trying to put this TED talk together about just say yes, and we're failing at it, and you're sleeping on the couch in the basement. That's why I was sad. And I love you, and I love sleeping next to you. So, not because I'm wrong, because I'm still right.
Yeah.
You're the master because you always
Yeah, the master always concedes.
Concedes, yeah.
I don't remember what idiot said that, but I really feel like there's a bunch of holes in that theory.
I think it's just the consolation prize if you lose.
Anyway, let's not drag this sucker out any longer. How long have we been on this?
Oh, I think it's been a long time. It's hard to tell.
Great. Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
At the
We
end of
still
the
have
day,
we have more than half a bottle of champagne. We could talk for hours.
I'm not going to.
I know we're not going to torture anybody.
That shit.
At the end of the day,
they're going to be seeing me
at the end of
naked,
the day,
which
it's
will
still
end
like
up-
a little bit. What? No, we're going upstairs.
If we finish
you're
that
gonna
bottle-
fucking take a fucking shower.
Jesus Christ. Okay,
Just
then.
kidding.
Anywho,
I do like prepare the area though.
at the
I have a
end
lot
of
of
the
stories
day,
about that. We could go there another. That could be another podcast.
it comes
Prepare
down to
the area.
communication.
How do you think we're doing now?
Well, there's other weird shit going on now. I mean, there's hormone changes.
Yeah, I think I'm starting menopause, or like I'm on the brink or something. I'm definitely like irritable and stuff. My mom said when she went through menopause,
I don't know
she
how
was
many
a
of
fucking
these.
bitch, and I was like, uh-oh.
I don't know how many of these personal account sex podcasts that we're gonna do, but I don't know about. I really don't have any intention of making this like a play-by-play of our sex life. I'd rather, keep it.
Well, I don't think we've even gotten in. We've never.
No, we haven't.
We're not going to do that.
This is an important. This is kind of an important juncture, right? Where things are, even though we're very aware, and well, to a degree, because the last situation happened because we really weren't that aware, or we thought we knew everything and we didn't.
Yeah.
And now that we know, it's like, but I don't know. There's just an experimental phase going on or something.
There is an experimental phase.
Anyway.
So we tried. So after we had our big fight and we talked about the ask and more aggressive asks, I'm not sure. Well, and I just kind of quit asking. And I don't know do you feel like you're more aggressive about your ask?
Well, I have been. Yes, last night, definitely.
But you didn't say anything. You just like got aggressive. But actually, that was pretty good.
Well, yeah, because you're a responsive desire. So rather than let your brain do any work, I just went straight for the response.
That was pretty good, actually. I like that.
See?
Yeah.
Live and learn. That's part of the experiment. So any of you sick bastards that thought, there was other shit going on, it's more about the experimental part is more about our approach with each other, and it's kind of a feel your way type thing, literally.
Yeah, but but there was this other moment that I feel like I have to tell this story because the people are having moments like this. So Lori Handlers, if you haven't listened to that podcast,
this
have
is
to
another
go
experiment.
Yeah. So and it was whatever, you didn't even play. So Lori weird. Handlers, hang on.
You're gonna have to watch the video if you're listening and on this podcast and you haven't, because I'm gonna give you a facial expression and you'll know why I didn't participate.
All right. So Lori Handlers, if you haven't listened to that episode, I think I'm slurring a little bit too. Go back and listen to it. Because she talks about tantric sex and she talks specifically about eye gazing. And Patty and I, we don't do that. So when she was talking about that,
big head by your ear type guy.
Yeah, head by my ear, but like we're both
nibble on the earlobe.
Yeah, and we both have our eyes closed, and maybe like there's a moment where you open your eyes and you kind of look at your partner with their eyes closed. I mean, that's how our sex life is, right?
Mm-hmm. There is no right or wrong way.
There's no right or wrong way. So that's just how we've always. This is just how we've always done it. And then she told us about eye gazing, and so I told Patty, like, I think we should try that. And he says, "Yeah, okay." But then we get into having sex, and his eyes are closed, and I'm like, "Well."
With what you know.
And I'm gazing at his eyelids, and I'm gazing at his eyelids, waiting for them to open. They're not opening. They're not opening. And finally, I'm getting to my orgasm. And just as I'm orgasming, Pat opens his eyes, and he looks right in my eyes. And I'm like, I make whatever noise I make. What noise did I make?
But nobody cares.
Okay. Well, whatever. I make some orgasm noise as I'm looking in his eyes, and I'm feeling this kind of deep connection moment, and he starts laughing. He immediately bursts out into laughter.
It's because her eyes were going like this.
That is not.
That's what your face was doing. I
No.
was like, it was.
And then you said,
you
then
do-
Patty goes, did you just fake that orgasm?
it was weird. There was something going on in your face where you were like,
I did not look like. I
you
mean, I
did
have no
too.
idea what
you
I
had
look
a
like.
really weird look on your face.
So that's what I look like. That's my cum face.
It
So
was
you
not,
can't laugh
no,
at
it
my.
is not. I've seen it multiple times. I've
that
seen
was
it
my
multiple
cum.
times. That
But
was
multiple
not.
times you never saw me come
That
with
was
my eyes
That
open.
was an entirely different orgasm.
No.
That's why I asked you if you faked it, because it was weird. It was different.
You burst into laughter.
I know I laughed, but
I've
telling
never
you why.
come with my eyes open.
Okay. Well,
that's why it looks different. So that's my eyes open cum face, honey. And you can't laugh at that.
All
you
right.
have to.
I won't. Just keep mine closed.
Lori Handlers, we need your help. We have a couples retreat coming up in Spain. It's in end of October, beginning of September. It's going to be a blast. If you can come, you should get on our website and apply and see if you can come with us. It'll be fun. Lori Handlers will be there with us for 24 hours, and I'm so grateful. Because we definitely cannot fucking hang on. We can't figure out the tantric sex thing.
The Facebook page.
All right, it's not the Facebook page.
It's Bigger Love Couples Adventures.
Oh, okay.
That's what the Facebook page. Group Bigger Love Couples Adventures. We want to do at some point start doing 3 or 4 trips a year or so.
And this year we only have one, and it's to the south of Spain. And we have one of my very, very best friends that lives down there who's going to show us the ropes. And
yep,
it's going to be
a pretty sweet trip.
We're going to go to the Rock of Gibraltar and hang out the monkeys. And anyway, I'm off on a tangent, but you know, when you try to do something new with sex, which we haven't done in a long time, but we are starting to try to do that. I think you have to have a good sense of humor, because it's you know, I think with sex in general, you have to have a good sense of humor. There's body parts.
Unless you laugh.
There's juices. There's mess.
Unless you laugh at your wife's open-eyed cum face. Then having a good sense of humor, not such a good idea, apparently.
I feel like I'm the one with the good sense of humor by telling this story and saying we don't get the tantric sex thing. We just don't get that.
No, we got a lot to learn on that one.
Yeah.
I think there's probably, I'm pretty sure that, and you know, if there's several people out there listening that know about Tantra, we apologize for our ignorance, but I'm pretty sure that there's a more gentle way into learning about Tantra rather than just staring at each other when you're having an orgasm. There's probably a lot of things that you do to get yourself to that point.
I just thought we could dive in.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. So now I'm closing my eyes again. I feel more comfortable like that. Maybe we can work our way up to eye gazing.
I was trying to eye gaze the other night.
Last night?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I did see that. I looked at you for a while, and then we both closed our eyes.
Yeah, because it wasn't working. I was like, are you not done yet? I was like, giving you my A game here.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
All right. Did we wrap back around to the... Yeah, we did. We got back to the TED Talk, which is, I'm the Just Say Yes girl, a case to put out. And I've been saying, when he's trying to initiate sex subtly in the middle of the night, I'm getting annoyed. And I'm saying, no.
And this has been a less than perfect lesson because we're still learning a lot of shit 23 years in.
But just for the record, I do still believe in just say yes. Just say yes to sex. When your partner,
I do too.
When your partner is initiating sex, I do think you should try your hardest to get to that place where you want to give to them, give to your relationship, give to yourself that pleasure. And not think of it like a chore, because I think I don't want to say it's women, because I don't think it's just women. I think there are partners in every relationship, no matter.
Well, there's all kinds of shit that
all kinds of shit that happens.
There's men battling hormones, or testosterone. There's women battling hormones.
That's non-concordance. That's in my TED Talk too.
Yep. There's
all kinds of stuff.
There's all kinds of shit.
There's all kinds of shit.
And even when you think you got it all figured out,
you don't.
Nature puts a few twists into it, and then you got to figure some other shit out. And
Yeah.
that's all good because it's part of the journey.
Yeah. Like my perimenopause that I think I've got going on. It doesn't seem to affect my vagina, though. Do you think it has yet?
Why'd you name it Perry?
Perimenopause. I didn't name it. Some
Why
doctor
not
did.
like Bob or
Bob
Steve?
Bob menopause.
Or Steve menopause.
It's
I have a
premenopause.
brother named Steve. He's gonna probably think I said that on purpose, but I didn't. It's just a funny name to say when you're gonna name something like a menopause.
Here's to you, Steve. We love you, buddy.
All right. Cheers.
All right,
Here's the
signing off.
audience. Signing out.
Yeah, we are not so perfect.
Bigger love to y'all.
Ciao. Oh God, I hate how I have to click 2 buttons.
Stop the recording.